Hey guys, welcome to the Binge Zone. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Netflix original movie, Malevolent. We're going to be breaking down the characters, the ending, and talking about that crazy twisted plot twist that really came out of nowhere. But anyway, let's just jump into the story because there's a few things we have to go over. So the story of Malevolent follows two main characters. We have brother and sister Angela and Jackson. Now these two are running a sort of business, a ghost hunting business where they go into houses and they exorcise ghosts. However, the funny part about it is it's a scam. They can't really speak to ghosts. They're just using the story of their mother and saying that Angela can see these creatures, and Jackson pretty much goes, he's the finesser of the group. He goes in, he arranges the deals, he walks the grieving person through, and they pretty much target grieving individuals who have lost a loved one, a missing family member, and they kind of prey on that loss, that sense of just wanting to move on, that sense of wanting to move on. They prey on that and they go in there and pull out this whole charade. They have cameras, EMF emitters, everything, and they're pretty much finessing the person who's grieving. However, when the movie begins, after they finish cleansing a home, Angela gets a vision of a mannequin coming to life. And that is the first vision. And the thing is, these characters don't believe in the afterlife. Jackson, Angela, and their friends don't really believe in spirits. They don't believe in seeing anything. But as the story goes on, Angela begins getting more visions of people who aren't there or ghosts. And we get a little bit of backstory on her mother who used to see these things. And an indicator of seeing spirits is getting nosebleeds. Once you get nosebleeds, it's pretty much saying you're seeing a ghost who isn't there. So in the movie, Mrs. Green calls them for their services, and she's willing to pay double because she lives in a former orphanage and her son killed off all the kids that were there. And because of that, she's haunted by the spirits of these kids who are running her halls. And Angela, who's feeling a little guilty about scamming people, wants to renege on this deal. But Jackson, who's the go-getter, the scam artist, the con man, convinces them to do one last hurrah job because she's paying double. So they go down this scary, spooky, winding road up to Mrs. Green's orphanage. And this is the typical scary movie setup. Long, winding road, abandoned mansion type house. And they go in there and Mrs. Green begins to see through their scam. She realizes that these people can't really help her because they're not all what they appear to be. However, while Angela's going through the house, she begins to see the girls that were murdered by Mrs. Green's son, Herman. And she sees the gruesomeness of it all. And while she's exorcising these ghosts, one of them leads her down a hallway. And it's at that moment we get a major plot twist. Mrs. Green kind of snaps at Jackson and doesn't blame her son Herman for the girl's death. She blames the little girls that she was taking care of for their own death because they would not listen. And that's when the story flips for the worst. The thing is, Herman wasn't the only one behind the killing of the girls. Mrs. Green was the main culprit. We find out that her backstory is she was abused by her mother. Therefore, when she tried to provide a better future for these young girls, she in turn began abusing them. And when they would not be quiet, she sewed their mouth shut and had her son kill them. And once that was discovered, her son Herman took the fall for her. An unanswered question in the movie is, if Herman took the fall, why isn't he in jail? Why is he still around? The movie doesn't do anything to really explain his being in the house still. However, once Jackson figures this out, he tells his sister and their friends, let's get the fuck out of here because this is not where we're supposed to be. This lady's crazy. Our lives are in danger. And then Beth, Jackson's girlfriend, goes missing. And in the midst of that, they find her tied up with her mouth already sewn. And now the stakes are raised because this is a life or death situation. And these people, Mrs. Green and her son, are not playing around. Now, the beauty of this story is the fact that these characters don't really believe in ghosts, but as they're in the house, Angela starts to see more and more into these ghosts, and Jackson also starts to see these ghosts, which brings up another plot element, is the fact that them being able to see ghosts stems from their mother. And that's why not only Angela can see them, but Jackson can see them as well. However, the ghosts are not the bad guys here. These girls are trying to warn them of Mrs. Green, and they're trying to help them get out. Angela, Jackson, and their friends try to escape, and their plans are foiled. Herman comes, they get Jackson, they sew his mouth up, and they kill him. Jackson's dead. Angela begs them not to kill Jackson because that is the only thing she has left in this life now that her mother's gone. However, Mrs. Green doesn't care. She just deads him. And once she begins sewing Angela's mouth, it's Angela pleading to the ghosts for help, who actually, the girls who were killed and suffered at the hands of Mrs. Green stand up against her, and Angela is able to escape. Once she escapes, she makes it out with her only surviving friend, Elliot, who survives the brutal stabbings and broken leg and slashes at the hands of Mrs. Green. And at the end of the movie, we see Jackson perfectly fine, still looking for his girlfriend Beth. And we realize something, that's not Jackson. Because Beth can see the dead, she's seeing her dead brother. And that last shot of her and her brother, she realizes even though he's gone, she can still see him, so she is never truly alone in this world. Now, this movie has two major plot twists. The first plot twist is the turning of Mrs. Green. Mrs. Green seemed like a victim who was being tormented by the victims of her son. However, she is the perpetrator behind the murders. She is the deranged one. And I also feel like Mrs. Green is the one who put Herman up to this, because Herman looks like his tongue is taken out so he can't really speak, because Mrs. Green seems to have an issue that goes back to her childhood with her mother, in which the mother demands silence and she used to get beatings because of that. So when it comes to her, she demands silence, and the way she gains her silence is by sewing your mouth shut or cutting your tongue off. So Mrs. Green's plot twist, I did not see that coming, because she seems like such a grieving person. Like, she felt bad that her son did this crime, and she felt bad for little girls, because throughout the movie, she kept talking about how she wanted to provide a better life for them. It isn't until that pivotal character switch that you realize, this bitch is crazy. And another plot twist we figure out is the fact that the girls themselves, the ghosts, are not the bad guys. They're actually the good guys. They're actually victims. And they were in an orphanage under the care of Mrs. Green, thinking that this lady is here for the betterment of their life, when she's actually the one who is the cause of their pain and suffering, ending their life early. And the fact that supernatural things aren't really occurring, and the characters of this movie don't really believe in it, but in actuality, they are supernatural in themselves, Jackson and Angela, because they can see ghosts, is another interesting point. Now, Netflix is on a roll this October, because this scary movie, at first, isn't your typical gory scary movie where it's, oh, jump scares this, jump scares that. It's the type of scary movie that builds up tension and tension. And the last 20 minutes of the movie is nonstop tension. Once the twist happens, everything, you're on edge for the rest of the movie. Anyway, guys, that is the Binge Zone Ending Explained, plot twist explained for Malevolent. If you've seen it, let me know in the comment section below what you think of Malevolent. And if you like this video, guys, definitely hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't already. And until next time, binge on.